Now that we know what the easiest linear functions look like, let's start by simply labeling things. If I tell you that the slope is a number and the y-intercept is a number, then it should be pretty easy to just fill in the blanks into the slope-intercept equation. The slope goes next to x, the y-intercept is just either it's plus a number or subtracting a number. So if we want to write the equation, given these two bits of information, then the slope is going to go for the letter m, and the y-intercept is going to go for the letter b. So if my slope is 5, then y is going to equal 5x, and then negative 3 is going to go for b, so minus 3. Let's do it again for number 5. The output is always going to equal the slope times x, 3x, and then for the y-intercept, b is equal to 2. So where the letter b is, we're going to put plus 2. Let's do it again. Y is equal to, we're just filling in this equation. The slope is 1x. The y-intercept is negative 12, so that means we're just going to be subtracting 12, because that's where the letter b goes. B is the y-intercept. M is the slope. But we can make this look even easier. If you have the number 1 multiplying x, you don't even have to write it. If you put x, then how many x's is that? This is just a single x. This one has a 3 times x. When you have 3 times x, that means that whatever you plug in for x, you're going to triple it and then plus 2. This one says whatever you put for x, you're going to leave it alone and then subtract 12. Let's take these 3 equations that we just made from slope-intercept form, and then now let's just graph those. We're going to graph the first one first. Y equals 5x minus 3. Let's write the equation, and that's going to be like the title of our graph. 5x minus 3. To graph anything, when you're graphing anything, you're going to need x's and you're going to need y's. So you just write your axis, label the origin, and I wouldn't put a scale until after we figure out what numbers we're going to use. The easiest numbers to use whenever you're graphing linear equations are the ones that are close to 0. The smallest numbers possible are the easiest ones to plug in. So step 1. Draw a table. There's my table. Step 2. Is going to be pick about 3. The minimum you need is 2, but if you do 3, you're going to get a better graph. So at least 3. The easiest x to use is going to be 0. The next easiest is 1, and then 2. 1, 0, 1, 2 are the easiest numbers we're going to plug in for y. Y is equal to that equation, 5x minus 3. Step 3 is going to be plug your x into y's equation. Before you plug anything in, x is just x. X is just some number on this axis. So 1, 2, 3. X is just some number in space. But once you plug it into the equation for y is equal to something times x. Let me erase this y so it doesn't look like we're going to do that. Y is equal to 5x minus 3. All we have to do is do 5 times our number for x, 0 minus 3. 5 times 0 is going to be 0. Subtract 3 from 0 and you get negative 3. Then we just do that again. 5 times whatever we picked for x, 1 minus 3. Then we simplify it. 5 times 1 makes 5 minus 3 is going to make 2. We'll do it again. 5 times 2 minus 3 equals 5 times 2 is going to be 10, and then we're subtracting 3 to get 7. We now have 3 points. Our points are 0, negative 3, 1, 2, and 2, 7. It's important whenever you're writing a coordinate that you use parentheses around your ordered pair. If you don't put a parentheses around your ordered pair, it's not an ordered pair. It's just a number that you wrote down with a comma in between. When you put these parentheses, that means this is a location that can be put on a graph. Now that we have our 3 dots, we're going to go 0 for x. 0 for x is right in the middle. Then we're going to go down 3. Since I need to fit this 7, but I only put 4 boxes going up, I'm going to make my y's count by 2. And I'll label it with a different color. I need to find 0, negative 3. 0 for x, but down 3. That's going to be halfway between negative 2 and negative 4. Now we have 1, 2. That's 1 for x, 2 for y. Finally, 2, 7. Go 2 for x, and then up between 6 and 8, halfway would make 7. Once you have your 3 dots, you should find something that's straight. I have a textbook, so you could put this touching all 3 dots and then draw a line. Since I'm using a computer, what I can do is I can just put the shape button, click the line, and then start it on one of the dots, and then make sure that I'm connecting to the other ones. But then I will need to extend the line. Most important things about your line. Since we started with a plain equation and there wasn't any restrictions given, we can put any number for x. That means decimals are okay, so we're just going to have one solid line. The other most important thing is, since we can plug in anything for x, you need to put an arrow at the top of your line and at the bottom of your line. If you don't put an arrow on your line, that means your line is going to end. But they didn't tell us to stop. This says that y is equal to whatever you plug in for x. You can plug in anything according to this equation. It didn't tell us don't plug in 10. If it told you that the domain was only going to be a certain amount of numbers from 5 to 10, then you would only graph from 5 to 10. This didn't say that, so you're just going to graph your 3 dots, connect it with a line, put arrows at the end. Let's do the next 2, and hopefully we'll be able to do them a little bit faster. Our equation is y equals 3x plus 2. First step is make a table. X, y, done. Second step, pick 3 different x's. The easiest ones are always going to be for a line. Well, not always, but the easiest ones are almost always going to be 0, 1, and 2. Then on the y side of the table, y is equal to 3x plus 2. This means that for each one of these x's, we're going to put it for x and then simplify. So that means 3 times 0 plus 2 equals 3 times 0 is 0 plus 2 is 2. Then we'll do the next one. 3 times 1, we're putting 1 for x plus 2 3 times 1 is 3, plus 2 is 5. 2 is the next one I'm going to put for x. 3 times 2 plus 2. 3 times 2 is 6, plus 2 makes 8. These are coordinates. These coordinates are 0, 2, 1 with 5, and 2 with 8. Now that we have our 3 coordinates, we can make our scale. I can count for 1s for x, and I will need to count by 2s for y. My first dot is going to be at 0, 2. Second dot, 1 for x, 5 for y, 1 to the right, and between 4 and 6 for y. My last dot is 2, 8. That's 2 for x, I forgot to put the origin, 2 for x, 8 for y. Then, use something that's straight. Maybe all you have is a piece of paper. Then use your pencil to make a straight line. I'm digital, so I can just use the line button. Okay, there's my line. I have an arrow, and I have an arrow. It's going through all 3 dots. This means that the line will continue to go down forever, and it's going to continue to go up forever because we can plug in anything for x. Alright, that's actually going to be the last example that I have in here, but I do have more examples already made, but it's just not with me in it. You'll just see me writing down stuff on my tablet. If you have any questions, send me a message.